Well, welcome everyone to webinar number 2 in the series, The Animal Loss Grief Journey. This evening, we're going to be discussing supporting yourself and other grieving hearts. This presentation will be recorded and shared on our YouTube channel. And let's go ahead and get started. This webinar is hosted by the Veterinary Social Work Services and the Center for Veterinary Social Work at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. The vision is attending to the welfare of all species through excellence in global interprofessional practice. If you're not familiar with veterinary social work, welcome. You're actually engaging in it this evening. And what is it? So really, veterinary social work is caring for the humans anywhere there's a human-animal interaction. It could be a human-animal bond, human-animal connection, or just a human-animal interaction. So that could be anyone here this evening. So pet owners, veterinary professionals, shelter workers, zookeepers, farmers, anywhere you could possibly think. So there are these 4 quadrants of veterinary social work, and veterinary social work is really collaboration between the College of Veterinary Medicine and the College of Social Work at University of Tennessee. Veterinary social work actually started by Dr. Elizabeth Strand at University of Tennessee, Knoxville back in 2002. There are a couple different options if you're interested in learning more about veterinary social work. So I am actually a student and working on the veterinary social work certificate, which is in addition to my Master's of Science in Social Work at University of Tennessee. There is also a postgraduate certificate. So if there's any social workers or mental health professionals out there that are interested in a postgrad certificate, that is an option, as well as the Veterinary Human Support Certificate. And that is intended for people that have more animal experience that are curious and want to learn a little bit more about the human side of the equation. So when we think about social workers support individuals, families, communities, and societies. So we refer to this as micro, which is that center. So that could be individual therapy or family therapy. We have meso in the middle, which is for groups and organizations within communities. And the macro level of social work is large-scale change through research and policy development to impact entire communities and populations. So this webinar series would be considered mesosocial work, and we'll be exploring several of the quadrants of veterinary social work. So again, my name is Valerie, and I am an intern for the Veterinary Social Work Services at the University of Tennessee, and I will be graduating in May 2025. And I have been in the animal world in many facets. So for over 20 years, I've worked in veterinary hospitals, animal shelters, zoos, aquariums, currently a dog trainer, also a dog owner myself. And it really is my experience in all of these arenas that has led me to veterinary social work and providing support for people just like you. And if you're curious about my dogs there, that's my senior crew. So on the left, we have Noodles, Mona in the middle, and Wiley on the right-hand side. So tonight, we're going to be talking about supporting others and supporting yourself. So here's a little sneak peek as to the specific topics that we're going to be covering. And I'm intentionally actually starting with the others portion of this first, because as you're going to find, a lot of the things that we're going to do to support others are actually really helpful when we are supporting ourselves. So that is why I have it in that order. So as a reminder, quick recap from webinar number 1. Grief is a natural reaction to loss. Your feelings are valid. The feelings of someone who has lost an animal are also valid. So just remembering that it is a very natural reaction. It is normal to have strong emotions and feelings about this significant loss for you. Also remembering that animal loss is considered disenfranchised grief. And if you remember from last time, disenfranchised grief is really grief that is not recognized by the general public. And that is why it is sometimes more difficult, because not everyone understands the depth of the relationships that we have with our animals. So when someone in your life has lost an animal, one of the most impactful things that you can do is work on active listening. Because when we have lost an animal, there isn't anything else to do at that point. Asking clarifying questions, and there's nothing, no one is broken, but this is a situation we really cannot fix. The animal is no longer with us. So an acronym that I find really helpful is WAIT. Why am I talking? So when we are focusing on active listening, that requires skill. It is hard. If it's not something that you were exposed to while you were growing up and you didn't have this modeled for you, it is a skill that needs to be grown. It is something that doesn't necessarily come naturally to a lot of us, myself included. It's been a work in progress for sure. But active listening really requires us to listen, really listen without waiting our turn to respond, without waiting our turn to share or ask clarifying questions. Active listening relies on nonverbal communication. So you can let someone know that you are right there with them in a conversation. Eye contact, head nodding, tell me more, right? So there's ways that you can let that person really continue to share and really tune into your feelings as they are talking to you. And letting the person who is going through their grieving process be in the driver's seat. So you as the supporter, you are in the passenger seat. So we are going wherever they want to go. So if they want to share something, great. But I'm not going to ask a clarifying question about their experience. I'm going to let them choose their story. I'm going to let them choose what they're going to share with me in that moment, which can really be empowering for that individual. So just really focusing on just being that calming presence, and you are walking alongside this person on their grief journey, which can be so very impactful, because if they're sharing with you, they trust you, and what a gift that really can be. Something else that can be really helpful is emotional CPR. So that is a program that is based on evidence-based practices, and it really helps to teach active listening, and it allows opportunities for practicing. So it was created to teach people that are not mental health professionals how to support each other. So it really is focusing on peer-to-peer support, and I am a trainer for that. The full training is 12 hours, but there's also a 1 hour introduction webinar. But again, it's really focusing on these skills, because again, we might not have them naturally, and that's okay. But it's something that can be so impactful when you are trying to support someone who is grieving. So next, I wanted to go through a couple things that people sometimes say when we have lost a pet, and maybe a little reframe as to how we might be able to change that. So this one actually isn't too bad, right? If you really are sorry for that loss, it is okay to say that. There's nothing wrong with saying, I'm so sorry for your loss. And again, just recognizing, if you are sorry, if you are sad too, it's okay to say those things to that person. I think a common misconception is sometimes addressing the fact, like asking, how are you? Or gosh, I miss Spot or whatever the animal was that is gone, that it'll make that person sad. The person who's grieving is already thinking and missing that animal. So you bringing it up isn't necessarily going to make them more sad, but what you're doing is opening up that opportunity for you to be that active listener for them. And I love this quote that I found. It's Maya Angelou, and she says, I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So we are talking about a couple different scenarios as far as what you can, suggestions, what might be helpful for someone to hear from you. But at the end of the day, if you are there, if you're trying to support that person, that's what's going to make the difference because you are going to make them feel heard and seen in their grief journey with their animal. All right, let's see another one. All right, I know exactly how you feel. So this one's tricky because it's very normal to want to relate to the person that is having a hard time. But when we say, I know exactly how you feel, that can sometimes bring up some emotions for the person grieving. Because I lost my animal and you lost an animal at some point in your life as well, does not mean that those experiences are the same. We all have our own unique grief journeys, and we also had different relationships with those animals. Because there's a different relationship that I have with my pet dogs than I did with some of the animals that I cared for at a shelter or a zoo and aquarium. It doesn't mean that that relationship was any less valuable or important. But just saying that I know exactly how you feel is kind of assuming some things. So we want to try to avoid that. But again, as that active listener, really tuning into those emotions that you're feeling as that person is telling you how they're doing. Just getting in tune with your body, right? Because we're going to avoid trying to fix and really focusing on, man, I feel the weight of this sadness, right? Or I feel sad with you. I miss them too, right? So just acknowledging how you feel can be very validating for that other person. And the other thing that comes up for me as I'm talking about this part as well is a lot of times if you say, oh, I know exactly how you feel. I lost a pet or an animal or, anything. And then we start to steal the story and we kind of go off and sometimes we forget that we are in the passenger seat, not the driver's seat. So just being aware of that, I think is really important. These might be a little triggering for some of us because you might have heard this because people just don't always know what to say. They also don't maybe understand the depth of the relationship that you had with your animal. So enter in disenfranchised grief, and someone that might say to you, it was just a fill in the blank for what animal that was. If it is a farm animal or a pet inside your home, you can get another one. Or uh, for someone who's working in a shelter or a zoo or aquarium, you have other animals to care for, right? So all of these things are, in a way, minimizing that relationship you have with that animal. It's minimizing that animal's life in some situations. So we really want to normalize the experience. So even if you've never had that type of animal in your life or that type of relationship with an animal, it's still, you can still say, if it's true, I understand why you feel this way, right? That can just be so impactful for that other person to hear instead of just, oh, you can just get another one. I did pull some of these from experience and things that people have shared with me. Okay. Why are you still grieving an animal? I don't even feel good saying that out loud. This just places a lot of judgment on someone else's grief journey. Any questions that you think you might want to ask that start with why, or who, or what, or where, when, how, any of those clarifying questions, most of the time are just being asked to satisfy us as the supporter, and not really there to support that grieving person. Because again, if we're allowing the person who is grieving their animal to be in the driver's seat, we are letting them choose what they want to tell us. So asking some of those questions can be a little difficult for the person who is grieving. Maybe they didn't want to share those details, and now you're pressing and asking more questions, and asking someone why they are still grieving, or shouldn't you be over this by now? Again, it's just minimizing the relationship, and also just not giving credit to the person grieving, and the fact that they have their own individual journey that they are allowed to be on. So again, just focusing on being with the person instead of trying to ask questions. You can just be present to be supportive. Again, it's very normal to, a normal conversation to have more of a back and forth, and asking questions depending on what the context is. But when someone is really struggling, when someone's really grieving, it's so helpful to kind of take a deep breath and take a back seat or that passenger seat for them. Okay. And just a few more here. It doesn't matter how long the life of the animal was. We always wish we had more time. Always. Even if there was a diagnosis and we knew what was coming, it doesn't make it any easier. So saying, at least they lived a long life, at least you had the time you did with them, while it on the surface has good intentions of like, oh, well, at least. But again, the underlying feel for the person grieving, it might come off a little different, because they did want more time. You always do. Also, too, if you feel like you want to start a conversation or a sentence with at least, take a pause, take that deep breath, and maybe try again, because that at least, again, can, where we are trying to find a silver lining for this situation. And for the person grieving, they might not be able to see that yet. And that's okay too. And the beauty of all of this is that it is okay to say you don't know what to say. We are all human. Again, we're not always trained for these situations. I'm so glad that you're here and very curious about learning more. But just also saying that you don't know what to say is being vulnerable. And that is brave. And that is showing up for that other person that is just having such a hard time because they just miss that animal so much. So I'm not sure what to say. This is awful, because it probably is, because losing a beloved animal is so very difficult. So, I constantly remind myself that I have to keep things simple. So that is kind of my idea for this. These couple slides here is just keep it simple. Say what you're feeling, and you'll do such a great job supporting that other person. When someone is grieving, we talked about brain states in webinar 1. So brain state is elevated. That's our flight, fight, freeze. That is when we can't problem solve or regulate our emotions, or do much of anything, because we are so very stressed out. So a lot of times when we're grieving, our stress levels are pretty high. So it can be hard to assess your own needs, and even harder to verbalize those needs. So again, while the sentiment, let me know if you need anything, comes off nicely. And again, that person might have really nice, wonderful intentions. But what this is doing, is actually putting the action onto the person who's already stressed out, putting the action onto the person that's already grieving and having a hard time. Um, they are very likely experiencing decision fatigue, especially if they had to be part of the decision-making process, if there was a euthanasia involved. So they might just be kind of done with making decisions. So even trying to send a text or pick up the phone to call to say, hey, I need something. I need you. I need food. I need support, might be too much for them. And again, they're stressed out and probably very low energy at that time. So I encourage you to be proactive. If they live nearby, bring them something. Um, Even if they want to be alone, you can leave it on the front porch. Bring them food, flowers, um, you know, adult coloring books. Have something delivered to them. Make a donation to something in honor of their pet and let them know that you did that. So by taking that action item off of their plate and just showing up in these other ways, you're being so very supportive. Because think back to some of those times when you have been in the depths of your own grief. You might not be able to see the way out. You might not be eating very well. You might not, so there's a lot of things that might be kind of on the wayside. So someone showing up or someone sending you some of these things can be such a gift to that person. And again, just thinking about what has been supportive for you in the past. What has someone else done when you're grieving that has made you feel loved? All right, so we're going to shift from supporting friends and family, and that was kind of more of like supporting other adults. I also wanted to touch on supporting children. So it's a very personal decision for you and your family to decide if there is a euthanasia taking place, how that is going to be disseminated to the child if they're involved, things like that. So we're kind of looking at this as if the pet has already passed. So we're grieving the loss of that animal. And so first, just recognizing that there are, based on brain development and things like that, there are kind of different levels based on where the child is developmentally and age-wise. I can kind of at least give you a little bit of a roadmap. And so these guidelines are from the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. So again, not a one size fits all, as grief is not either, but just again, kind of just little guidelines for us. So when it's a young child, they might not fully understand the permanence of death. So they might think that it's temporary, maybe that the animal might come back. As we get a little bit older to 6 to 8, they're starting to grasp the concept and being a little bit more realistic. And then usually 9 and older is when children are starting to realize that death is final and permanent. You also think about, were there any other family members, other animals, other loss that they have experienced? So usually the older that they get, then there might be other losses they might have already experienced outside of the animal that can help them form those, new ideas and things like that surrounding death. So we might be tempted to say some of these things because it hurts to see our children hurt. So sometimes we want to protect them and maybe soften the blow and maybe kind of change the true story of what has happened to the animal. So we might say they ran away, or they went to live on a farm, or they went to sleep. This can, maybe in the moment, maybe seem like it is helping and making things not as bad, but this is going to potentially make it a little bit harder next time this happens, right? So just thinking of this as a learning opportunity for all involved. Also being prepared for some of those difficult questions that a child might ask. So just thinking about how you and your family, based on your spirituality, your culture, what does death look like in general? And then what kinds of things do you want to teach your children about those things? And if they are asking questions, try to answer those honestly. And remember that sometimes the truth is that you don't know. And it's okay to say that. So similar to supporting adults, if a child is asking a question and you don't know the answer, it is okay to say that you don't know. So things that might be a little bit more supportive for a child to hear um, is just focusing on the words that we're using. So saying that they died, saying that they are dead. You can also say that they're no longer in pain. If towards the end of life there was pain or struggle or aging going on, or a terminal diagnosis, it's also okay to say that they are no longer in pain because that is the truth. So just really focusing on trying to utilize concrete words to describe what has happened. And again, kind of using the guide map of based on what your child's like age is and experience with grief so far. So just like I was sharing that we learn how to be an active listener, or maybe not as good of an active listener based on what we observed and were surrounded by as we were growing up. It's the same thing for situations like grief. So much of who we are today comes from what behaviors were modeled for us. So it's okay to cry. It's okay to get mad. It's also okay to express relief. So physically and verbally expressing your emotions helps your children see your grief experience as they try to navigate it on their own. It's okay to talk about the animal. Avoiding talking about the animal is not going to decrease the weight of the grief. When we lose an animal, it is a huge change to our lives and to our routines. So again, those changes in routines, stress levels are going to go up, brain states are going to go up. We're going to just be more stressed out. So trying to keep routines consistent. So waking up, bedtime, meal times, activities, any of those day-to-day activities that you can try to keep in place can help reduce the amount of things that are changing for your child and for you. You can also explore keeping some routines even though your animal is gone. Maybe you walk the same route you walked with your dog and carry the leash or the collar. If the animal is part of a morning or bedtime routine, considering having a photo of that animal or something of theirs to continue that routine can be supportive for a child. This is actually an example of the continuing bonds grief theory, which I discussed in webinar 1, but just finding ways that you can continue talking about and having that animal around, even though physically they are no longer with us. And I will be discussing different ideas and ways to memorialize your animals in depth in webinar 5. All right, and we got supporting other animals. So last thing before we start talking about supporting yourself. So I feel like this is a very common question as well. If you have multiple animals and one passes away, how do we support the other animals? So just like children, it can be helpful to keep daily and weekly routines as consistent as possible for those first few days or weeks. So an animal's stress levels can increase just like ours when too many things are changed all at once. So if they are pets in the home, that were, let's say, always separated for mealtime, just as a safety precaution, continue to maybe still move that single pet around or put them where they used to eat for the first couple days or maybe week or so, because again, that is the routine that they're used to. So rather than having everything change all at once, you can kind of slow things down and kind of try to methodically change one variable at a time as best as you can. If they are larger animals, let's say on a farm or on a zoo, that maybe had a certain rotation of what spaces or areas they had access to, you can continue to follow that for the first couple days or weeks as well. Because again, those are patterns, those are routines that they are used to. Having routine reduces fear, stress, and anxiety for our animals and for ourselves. So trying to keep those routines in place can be really helpful. If there's any items from the deceased, it's okay to keep those in place. So again, thinking about the animal being gone, and then if there's changes in daily routine, and then now suddenly things are just leaving the household, that's a lot of changes in a very short amount of time. So the surviving animal might find the scent of the items comforting. And then after some time has passed, then you can start thinking about what you want to keep or if there are things that you want to remove. It is natural for us to want to spend more time with the surviving animals. Our animals love us unconditionally. That's why we miss them so much when they're gone. And our animals provide us comfort in so many different ways. I just encourage you to read that other pet's body language because of the change in routine and that this other animal is no longer present. Their stress levels still might be escalated. So their behavior might change. So just read their body language. Don't assume that they do want to spend more time or have more cuddles or things like that. Still trying to give that individual animal their own autonomy and choice and control over their environment can be really impactful. Just to make sure that they do want to interact in the same ways that we do during this time. And again, so there might be some changes in behavior, changes in appetite, activity level, but also the animal might just start to go on business as usual. And that's okay too. This doesn't discount the animal lost or the relationships that they had. So how animals adjust to the loss of another animal is a unique journey, just like ours. All right. Last but not least, think about how we can support ourselves. So pretty much everything that we've already discussed, think about that in the context of helping yourself. Oh, I forgot the rest of that word there. It's not memo, but so again, routine. Yeah, I'm saying it. I'm repeating it for a reason because it is really important. So for daily routines, trying to keep those things the same. But then when we start to think about maybe some special events or other activities, that's where you want to give yourself some grace. Also, just reducing your expectations on yourself. Again, you have elevated brain state because you are grieving. It's okay to not be able to handle as many work projects. It's okay to decline social engagements if you just aren't feeling up to it. It is okay to do those things. And these things change sometimes minute to minute, hour to hour, day by day. So just taking one day at a time can be really helpful. And just giving yourself grace, right? So just giving yourself that chance to meet your needs in the moment is really impactful. That last one, memorialize your animal. So we will spend more time talking about how you can memorialize your animals in a future webinar, webinar number 4. So we'll put a pin in that one for now. So there's a lot of different supportive activities that we can do when we are grieving. Sometimes journaling can be supportive. That might be journaling about the animal. That could be journaling to the animal. Sometimes writing a letter and saying exactly what you wish you could say to them can be really helpful. trying out some meditation or mindfulness activities, yoga, spending time in nature. So the single most restorative thing that we can do is sleep. And then number two is spending time in nature. So if you can get out in nature and try to unplug a little bit from our busy electronic world, that can be really helpful, not only for your brain and your body, but your heart too. If you are interested in reading books about grief or podcasts and things like that. Some people find it helpful and supportive. Some people think it's too much too soon. So again, this is your journey. You get to be in the driver's seat when you are the one grieving, and you get to decide what is going to be most helpful for you. On our Vet Social Work website, we do have a list of grief resources. And there's many other websites out there now that have lists as well. And so I'll share some of those probably in the comments for the video. So these are things that we can do for ourselves, but it is also really important to think about how we can build a support system. How can we build community around ourselves when we are grieving? So that is next time. So we'll be talking all about anything you could, support groups, grief specialists, veterinary social workers, and more, as far as building a support system around ourselves when we are grieving the loss of an animal. But please, if you are experiencing a mental health emergency, please call 988 and get the help that you need. Thank you so much for tuning into our webinar. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording here.